Most people will watch this video and continue living exactly the same life. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack opportunity, but because they are addicted to familiarity. They are attached to the version of themselves that feels comfortable, even when that version is slowly destroying their future. The truth is brutal. The life you have right now is not an accident. It is the natural result of the person you have become. Every habit, every reaction, every fear, every excuse has quietly built the reality you wake up to every day. And if that reality is average, it is because the person creating it is average. Machiavelli understood something that modern self-help refuses to admit. Transformation is not about improvement. Improvement is slow, safe, and comfortable. Real transformation begins with destruction. Before you can become someone powerful, disciplined, respected, or extraordinary, you must first destroy the version of yourself that keeps producing the same disappointing results. Most people spend years trying to add new habits to an identity that is fundamentally weak. They read books, watch motivational videos, make promises to themselves, and yet nothing changes because the foundation remains untouched. Think about it. The person you are today has a predictable pattern. You react the same way when criticized. You hesitate in the same situations. You tell yourself the same stories whenever an opportunity appears. Your mind has become a machine programmed by years of repetition. And what is predictable can be controlled. Society does not need chains to keep people trapped. It only needs patterns. Once your reactions become predictable, your future becomes predictable as well. This is where the uncomfortable realization begins. The voice in your head that says, "This is just who I am," is often the biggest lie you have ever believed. You were not born fearing rejection. You were not born doubting yourself. You were not born accepting mediocrity. Those beliefs were learned, reinforced, and repeated until they became your identity. But if an identity can be built, it can also be destroyed. And that is where your new life begins. Not when you learn something new, but when you finally decide that the old version of yourself is no longer allowed to exist. The moment you decide to escape an average life, something unexpected happens. The world starts resisting you, not because people hate you, not because they want to see you fail, but because your transformation threatens the version of reality they have become comfortable with. Every person in your life has created a mental image of who you are. The quiet one, the funny one, the reliable one, the follower, the dreamer who never actually acts. Whether they admit it or not, people become comfortable when they can predict you. And the moment you stop behaving according to that prediction, you create uncertainty. Suddenly, the friend who always had access to your time notices you're unavailable. The family member who expected you to stay small notices you're thinking bigger. The people who enjoyed your endless explanations become uncomfortable when you stop seeking their approval. What they call "you've changed" is often just their reaction to losing control over the version of you they understood. This is why Machiavelli believed power begins with unpredictability. Not recklessness, not chaos. Unpredictability. When people can perfectly predict your reactions, they can influence your decisions. They know what will make you angry. They know what will make you feel guilty. They know exactly which buttons to press, because you have spent years revealing your entire operating system to the world. Every emotional reaction becomes information. Every unnecessary explanation becomes leverage. The strongest people understand something different. They don't feel obligated to explain every move they make. They don't rush to defend every decision. They don't waste energy convincing others that they deserve more. Instead, they become observers. They speak less and notice more. While everyone else is busy expressing their thoughts, they are studying patterns. While others desperately seek attention, they quietly gather information. And information is power. This doesn't mean becoming cold or antisocial. It means becoming intentional. It means realizing that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your thoughts, your plans, and your emotions. The more of yourself you constantly reveal, the easier you become to predict. The easier you become to predict. The easier you become to control. So here's the challenge. For the next few days, stop explaining yourself. Stop announcing your plans before you've achieved them. Stop seeking reassurance for decisions you already know you need to make. Let your actions speak before your words do. Because the moment people stop being able to predict you is the moment you begin taking control of your own life. There is one addiction that destroys more dreams than failure, poverty, bad luck, or lack of talent combined. It is so common that most people don't even realize they suffer from it. They spend their entire lives feeding it, protecting it, and obeying it. That addiction is approval. Think about how many decisions you've made simply because you wanted someone else to approve of them. The career path chosen to impress family. The opinions adjusted to avoid criticism. The opportunities ignored because someone might judge you if you failed. Most people are not living their own lives. They are performing for an invisible audience, constantly seeking permission from people who are too busy worrying about themselves to care as much as they imagine. Machiavelli understood that the need for approval is one of the easiest weaknesses to exploit. The moment someone knows you need their validation, they gain influence over your behavior. They don't need to threaten you. They don't need to force you. They simply withhold approval, and you begin changing yourself voluntarily. You soften your opinions. You lower your standards. You abandon opportunities. You become easier to manage because your emotions are tied to their acceptance. Look around and you'll see this everywhere. People stay in relationships they have outgrown because they fear disappointing someone. Employees remain trapped in jobs they hate because they fear being judged for taking risks. Entire lives are built around avoiding criticism rather than pursuing greatness. The tragedy is that the approval they seek never truly satisfies them. It only creates a deeper dependence. The more approval they receive, the more they need. Power begins the moment you break this addiction. The moment you become willing to disappoint people in order to remain loyal to your purpose. Not because you are selfish, but because your future is too valuable to be controlled by the opinions of others. Every extraordinary person eventually reaches a point where they must choose between acceptance and growth. The majority choose acceptance. A small minority choose growth. And here is the uncomfortable truth. The version of you capable of achieving something remarkable will not be liked by everyone. Some people will misunderstand you. Some will criticize you. Some will distance themselves from you. Let them. Their approval was never the goal. Your potential was. The day you stop needing applause is the day you become dangerous to every limitation that once controlled your life. Everything you have heard so far leads to one final realization. The average person spends their entire life reacting. Reacting to circumstances. Reacting to criticism. Reacting to opportunities. Reacting to fear. They wake up every morning believing they are in control. Yet nearly every decision they make is influenced by forces outside themselves. Their mood depends on what happens around them. Their confidence depends on how others treat them. Their motivation depends on whether conditions feel favorable. They are not directing their lives. They are being directed by them. This is the final trap Machiavelli would have wanted you to see. The majority of people believe power means controlling others. It doesn't. The highest form of power is controlling yourself. Because when you control yourself, you become impossible to manipulate. Fear loses its grip on you. Rejection loses its power over you. Criticism loses its ability to stop you. Suddenly, the world can no longer push you in directions you never intended to go. Imagine two people facing the exact same obstacle. One panics, complains, blames circumstances, and waits for someone to save them. The other studies the situation, adapts, and moves forward regardless of how they feel. Both experienced the same problem, but only one remained in control. That is the difference between a person who reacts to life and a person who shapes it. Most people waste years waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect plan, the perfect version of themselves. But perfection is a fantasy created by fear. The people who change their lives are not the ones who feel ready. They are the ones who act while uncertainty still exists. They understand that confidence is not something you find before action. Confidence is something action creates. So now the question becomes simple. Who will you be after this video ends? Will you return to the familiar habits that have produced the same results year after year? Will you continue feeding the fears that keep you small? Or will you make the decision that most people spend their entire lives avoiding? Because the truth is that your average life does not end when circumstances change. It ends the moment you change. The moment you stop seeking permission. The moment you stop explaining yourself. The moment you stop waiting. The moment you realize that the person standing between you and the life you want has never been anyone else. It has always been you, and from this moment forward, that person no longer exists.